All right, so we're just about 30 minutes out from the start of competition. Once again, we're going to have our pilot sleds. I think we have 4 pilot sleds for today, 3 Skelly, 1 Bob, and then we'll move on to our competitive women for Brittany, Christy, and Nicole, then Justin, Hunter, Tyler, Cody, Frank, and Jeff. In 15 minutes, we'd like if everybody joined us on the deck for the national anthem. Hey, Alex. Up at the upper finish. Spoda. Spoda. Thank you. So we are roughly 20 minutes out before we begin. 20 minutes out before we begin with competition. In 5 minutes, we would like if everyone joined us on the deck at start 1 for the national anthem. Once again, in 5 minutes, if everybody could join us on the deck for the national anthem. In 2 minutes, we would like if everybody joined us on the deck for the national anthem. Once again, 2-minute countdown to the national anthem. Please join us out on the deck. So once again, we are just under 15 minutes out from the start of competition. We're going to begin with our Forerunner sleds here today. Looks like we'll have a total of 4 Forerunner sleds, 3 Skelly, 1 Bob. Then we move into our women's competitive field for run number 1. Brittany, Christy, and Nicole. On to the men for Justin, Hunter, Tyler, Cody, Frank, and Jeff. And run number 2 will begin at 5:15. Good luck to all of our competitors joining us here today for race number 2. Ten minutes out from the start of competition. 10 minutes out from the start of competition. Once again, for today, we have a few Forerunner sleds. Then we move on to our women's competitive field for Brittany and Lauren, Christy and Sylvia, and Nicole and Nicole. On to the men for Justin and Chris, Hunter and Adrian, Tyler and Chris, Cody and Hakeem, Frank and Derek, and Jeff and Sam. Once again, good luck to all of our competitive athletes here today for the U.S. Bobsled National Team Trials race number 2. For our spectators, this will be the 2-man race for the women and the men for Team USA. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, make sure to join us for the 4-man race. Tomorrow we'll have a total of 5 competitive sleds for the 4-man discipline. You don't need to mark your calendars because it's tomorrow. So come on out and join us. It'll be tons of fun. All right, guys, we are just under 5 minutes out from our Forerunner sleds. Just under 5 minutes out from our Forerunner sleds. I think we have Luke, Leslie, Lauren, and Alana today. We'll figure it out as we go. Not a big deal. Once again, thank you for our spectators joining us here this afternoon for the U.S. Team Trials Bobsled Race number 2. This is for the 2-man discipline. Tomorrow, same time, 4 o'clock, will be the exciting 4-man race. We begin with our women's competitive field here today. Once again, our order for today: Brittany, Christy, Nicole. On to the men for Justin, Hunter, Tyler, Cody, Frank, and Jeff. All right, here we go. Let's start 1. We roll right into the women after the pilot sleds. Track is clear. From the finish to start 1 for Luke. Sled in track from start 1. This is Luke. This is our first of possibly 4 pilot sleds. Pilot sleds, for our spectators, we'll give you a rundown here. This is a pilot sled. They test our ice conditions. They test the timing equipment. They make sure everything is safe. Make sure there's no chipmunks or squirrels in the track. Yep, happens. Anyway, he's down through the Devil's Highway of the track. Once again, we are sending some test sleds. It's essentially what they are. They test everything to make sure everything's good for competition. So far, so good for Luke. He's an up-and-coming skeleton athlete. He's been around the track for a couple of years. He's getting some extra ice time for the day. Probably get some extra ice time tomorrow before the 4-man race. We'll take 5 minutes in between women and men just to get our results in order for the second run. So once again, we start with our women's heat today, heat number 1. Then we'll take a 5-minute break, go into the men, and then at 5:15, run number 2 starts. So we just take a little short break in between in order to print out the second run results and distribute them to the proper officials. Up next, we'll have Leslie. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Leslie. So, let in track from start 1. This is Leslie. She is our second pilot sled. She's sliding for Sweden this year. She should have a blast on her World Cup tour this year. Maybe NAC. Maybe Europa Cup. Maybe both. Down through those upper straightaways. Once again, this is a pilot sled. This is Leslie. She's getting some extra ice time as well. Down through 8 and 9, sliding into curve 10, shady 2. Skeleton's going to race tomorrow, too, for our spectators. Race number 2 for U.S. Skeleton team will be tomorrow. It's at 12:30, so if you'd like, you can come on out and join us for the second skeleton race. team trials race. It is at 12:30 tomorrow. And then you'll be set up perfectly because four-man is going to be racing at 4 o'clock. So you can spend the whole day here tomorrow. Luge is in the morning, by the way. Anyway, our second forerunner sled through and down. That was our second forerunner sled through and down. Our third forerunner sled, please stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Alana. So, led in track from start 1. This is Olympic silver medalist from Pyeongchang, Alana Myers-Taylor. Acting as a pilot sled here today, she's sliding through curve 1. Alana's acting as a pilot sled here today. She has a bye for the race, so she's already secured her spot for the team. Last year in Pyeongchang, sorry, not last year, but just in February, in Pyeongchang for the two-man discipline, two-woman discipline. Sliding through curve 10, shady 2. Once again, this is Alana Myers-Taylor. Down through the labyrinth into curve 14, Benham's Bend. Through the chicane into curve 17. Alana down 18 and climbing curve 19. Beautiful run from Alana. She knows this track real well. This is her home track. Through and down. That was Alana. Our first competitive sled, Brittany, please stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Brittany. So, led in track from start 1, this is Brittany Reinbolt and Lauren Gibbs. Sliding down into curve 1, their start time, 5:64. Solid start. Let's see how it sets Brittany up here today. She was very well off in the last race, second place overall. It's going to be quite the battle for the women's discipline here today. Down through the difficult Devil's Highway portion of the track, and this is really good for Brittany. Down through 8 and 9. She's taken a lot of runs here. She's spent years here training on the Lake Placid track, exiting curve 10 down through the labyrinth into curve 14, Benham's Bend. See how our speed is looking on the track here today. Not quite as quick as we saw in the past few days. 74 miles per hour. That's a solid speed for Brittany. Down through curve 18 and climbing curve 19. Nice run for Brittany Reinbolt and Lauren Gibbs. She'll be through curve 20 and crossing the finish line with a downtime of 58.33. That puts her in first. So far on run number 1, that was Brittany through and down at 58.33. Up next, we have Christy Copland. Christy, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Christy. So let in from start one. This is Christy Copland and Sylvia Hoffman. Sliding into curve one, posting a start of 5.63. They're going to just about match Brittany Reinbold's start. Brittany at a 5.64 with a 58.33 downtime. This is Christy Copland and Sylvia Hoffman in track. Looking for a little bit of redemption here today. They were in third place overall on Saturday for the first race. She's got 0.02 of a second to work with, pushing her way into curve 10, Shady 2. It's a make or break year here for Christy. She's going to be through curve 10, coming down through the labyrinth, sliding into curve 14, doing really well here. She's got just a little bit of time to make up. She was ahead of the pace by just a touch. She's now back by 1/10 of a second, which is not much at all. Will she be able to find a little bit of time here in the final portion of the track? Climbing up through curve 19 and through 20, total of 20 curves for the sport of bobsled here in Lake Placid. She'll sit in second place with a downtime of 58.53. So she was back by only 0.2 of a second as she chased down Brittany Reinbold. Up next, we'll have Nicole Vogt. Nicole, please stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start one for Nicole. So let in track from start one. This is Nicole Vogt and Nicole Brungart. Sliding down into curve one, a start time for these two of 5.70. A little bit slow of a start here, but she definitely knows how to find time coming down the track. Chrissy came down with a 5.63 start and a 58.53 downtime. Nicole Vogt was first overall on Saturday. Let's see how she does here as she navigates her way down through the treacherous Devil's Highway section of the track. Carrying some good speed through there, crossing over nicely between curves 8 and 9, 0.07 of a second back now as she tries to track down Brittany Reinbold. Will she be able to do that here? She's entering the lower curves of the track. You can either lose a lot of time here or find a lot of time back. 73 miles per hour, so not quite the speed we saw from Brittany Reinbold. Climbing up through curve 19, about 1/10 of a second back here for Nicole Vogt. As she comes through curve 20, she's going to be through and down into second place, falling behind the pace of Brittany Reinbold by 0.17 of a second. So after one run, it was Brittany, Nicole, and Christy, 1, 2, and 3. All of these ladies set up really nicely for their second run. It'll be a 5-minute warning until we begin with the men. 5 minutes to the men. 2-minute warning to Justin Olson. A 2-minute warning to Justin Olson. Start list for the women's second run should be printing out at start 1. So once again, 2 minutes to Justin. Our order for the men: Justin, Hunter, Tyler, Cody, Frank, Jeff. All right, here we go at start 1. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Justin. So, let in track from start 1. This is Justin Olson and Chris Kinney. Sliding into curve 1 with a start of 5:16. Justin was 3rd overall on Saturday. 5:16 is his start time. That sets him up real well for run number 1. 5:16 is a good start for Justin. He's done better, but for today, it is a fantastic start time. He's down through the Devil's Highway of the track. He'll be setting the pace here for the men. See how he does on the slower conditions here today. Sliding through curve 10, shady 2. Nice looking stuff from Justin down through the Devil's Highway. Now through the labyrinth of the track. Sleds reach their top speeds here in this portion of the track. Exiting 14, doing 74.5 miles per hour. It's good speed. Down 18, climbing curve 19. Justin coming up through the final 2 curves of the track. Let's see how he does here. Through and down at 57.01. That's a solid pace from Justin Olson and Chris Kinney. Up next, we'll have Hunter Church. Hunter, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1. Start 1 for Hunter. So, let in track from start 1. This is Hunter Church and Adrian Adams. Loaded into their sled into curve 1 with a 5.33 start. Solid start for Hunter. 57.01 is the time he's looking to beat. He's about 2/10 back off the pace as he comes down through the upper curves of the track, through those upper straightaways. Solid looking through there. He was nice, clean, and quiet. That should set him up really nicely for his Devil's Highway. Also looking solid here through 8 and 9 into 10, shady 2. He's finding that time back that he was deficient on the start of. Down through the labyrinth into curve 14. He's still finding time here. Hunter Church, Adrian Adams currently in course. Still finding time down to 0.15 of a second. He's got enough track to catch Justin. Is he going to do it here? Climbing up through 19. Still solid. Hunter Church. No mistakes there in the heart. He'll be through and down into first place by 1/100th of a second. Good stuff from Hunter Church and Adrian Adams. Up next, Tyler Hickey. Tyler, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start one. Start one for Tyler. So let in track from start one. This is Tyler Hickey and Chris Walsh. Loaded into the sled, into curve 1, 5, 4, 6. Start time for Tyler. He wants to prove some stuff here today. He was relatively well off on Saturday. Once again, a 5, 4, 6 start time here on his run, a quarter of a second back. That's not a big deal. We've seen plenty of drivers make that time up here on the Lake Placid course. 57.00 is the time to beat, set by Hunter Church. Hunter sitting in first, followed by Justin Olson, Tyler Hickey, and Chris Walsh are in track. Through the labyrinth into curve 14. He's back by about 0.6. He's one of the newer pilots in the field here today. Not too shabby here for Tyler Hickey as he slides down through 18, climbing up curve 19. Solid stuff from Tyler. Through curve 20, he'll be crossing the finish line, and a down time for Tyler of 58.08. So that's going to put him in third here currently. That was Tyler Hickey and Chris Walsh through and down in third place. Time 58.08. Up next, Cody Baskew. Cody, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start one for Cody. So let in track from start one. This is Cody Baskew and Akeem Abdul Sabor, a real powerhouse of a team in this sled, sliding into curve one with a 5-1-1 start. Again, a 5-1-1 start for Cody Baskew and Akeem. That's very nice for them. That gives him almost 0.3 of a second to work with off the top of the track, and he is chasing down his teammate Hunter Church here on run number one. 0.4 of a second to work with for Cody. This is his home track. He's been having fantastic times all week long, last week, this week. He really knows this track well. He grew up sliding here in Lake Placid ever since he was a young man. Now taking his skills on the combine track, and he is exceeding here in Lake Placid. Sliding through curve 17 with about a half a second to work with. Solid lines through the heart. He'll be well ahead of the pace as he comes up through curve 20. He'll be crossing the finish line with a downtime right around 56.51. Once again, that was Cody Baskew through and down into first place with a time of 56.51. Up next, we'll have Frankie Del Duca. Frankie, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start one. Start one for Frank. So let in track from start one. This is Frank Del Duca and Derek Crittenden. Loaded into their sled. 5.38 is their start time. That's a solid start for Frankie. He's chasing down Cody Baskew. 56.51 or better would put him up into first place here on run number one. Frankie Del Duca in course, trying to track down Cody Baskew. Hunter Church sits in second. Justin Olson in third. Tyler Hickey sitting in fourth. Frankie into curve 10, shady 2. Some solid looking lines there. He's about 0.6 of a second back, so he could jump up if he keeps this pace. See how he does here through the lower curves of the track, exiting the bend right around 74.4 miles per hour. So he's got some fantastic speed. He needs some good lines here to maintain his momentum. Coming up through curve 20, he'll be crossing the line. About 9/10 back, he'll fall into fourth place with a 57.52 down time. That was Frankie Del Duca. Swinging down into fourth place with a time of 57.52. We have one competitive sled remaining for our men's field, and that is Jeffrey Gabois. Track is clear from the finish 2, start 1 for Jeff. So let in from start 1, this is Jeffrey Gabois and Sam Moeller. They're loaded into their sled. Start time of 5:34. He's back off the pace by about 2/10, but we all know how Jeff carries his momentum down the track. He finds incredible speed. He usually is the fastest speed on the exit of curve 14. We'll see how he does here. He needs a solid Devil's Highway. It's been giving him a little bit of trouble over the past week. He's through nicely, nice solid transition between curves 8 and 9, only 0.4 of a second back. But here is where he turns the afterburners on and finds the time. Jeffrey Gabois and Sam Moeller exiting the bend at 74.9, one of the better speeds we've seen so far in our first run of men's competition. Down 18, climbing curve 19, still about 0.4 back. He'll be about a half a second off the pace as he crosses the finish line into fourth place with a 57.05 down time. So for run number 1, we had Cody Baskew coming down in first place with a 56.51 down time, followed by Hunter Church, who's a half a second off the pace. Justin Olson sits very close behind Hunter, only 100th of a second separates him from second place. Justin Olson and Chris Kinney sitting in third. Jeffrey Gabois in fourth. Frank Del Duca fifth. And Tyler Hickey sitting in sixth. Once again, our start time for run number 2 will be 5:15. 5:15 start time for run number 2. And the sled work will open once the final sled hits the docket. Start 1. So we are just about 45 minutes out from exciting run number 2. Folks, stick around, enjoy the views. There's plenty of stuff to do. You can head on down to the Lamy Lodge, grab yourself a beverage and a snack, and you'll have just enough time to get it back up on the hill to watch exciting run number 2. For the women, start order will be Christy, Nicole, and Brittany. Once again, Christy, Nicole, and Brittany will be the start order for run number 3. Run number 2. Start order for run 2 for the men will be Tyler, Frank, Jeff, Justin, Hunter, and Cody. Don't go anywhere, folks. Exciting run number 2 coming up shortly. Thank you to our live streamers for tuning in. We hope you guys are enjoying the race from the comfort of your home or office. A reminder about the start time for run number 2. It's 5:15. 5:15 start time for run number 2. All right, officials and coaches at start one. Your second run start list for the men will be printing out as we speak. And once again, thank you to our spectators joining us here today. Thank you to our volunteers. Thank you to the athletes. Thanks, everybody. For our spectators, run number 2 begins at 5:15. 5:15 start time for run number 2. Very close racing today here at Mount Van Hoevenberg. Oh, by the way, thank the track workers, too. Thanks to the track workers. It's not easy keeping ice on a concrete surface in the month of October. The weather is with us here this month. And hopefully it stays this way through next month and the entire winter. Thank you to our spectators once again. 5:15 start time for run number 2. We'll send our pilot sleds off again. And then we'll have women's second run and the men's second run. Again, the park for May or the sled work, whichever you prefer, will begin at the moment the final sled reaches the deck at start 1. So once again, folks, hang out, enjoy the weather. Run number 2 starts at 5:15. Run number 2 starts at 5:15. Tomorrow, we'll have skeleton race number 2 for the team trials. That'll be taking place at 12:30 till 3 o'clock. And 4-man is going to be happening 4 to 6. 4 to 6 tomorrow, folks. Come on out for the 4-man race. Earlier this week, we saw 4-man sleds doing about 76 miles per hour down the track. Come on out. Watch these guys battle it out here on the Mount Van Hoevenberg Lake Placid combined track. And I'll stop talking about 4-man. I don't want to get anybody nervous up there. So once again, folks, 5:15 start time for run number 2. And of course, thank you to those joining us on your live stream on YouTube. We're happy to be providing the feed so everybody can enjoy the races from the comfort of their home. But we'd rather have you here at Lake Placid. The weather's beautiful. So next time you can, make a trip up. Join us for the World Cup or the North America's Cup, coming up in November. Anyway, 5:15 start time for run number 2. We'll send our 4-runner sleds again, and then move into the women's competitive field for run 2, and then the men. Tomorrow, 4-man racing. Skeleton's going to race off. Losers racing sometime over the weekend. North America's Cup coming up November into December, and World Cups in February. So if you want to brave the elements, some mid-February weather in the Adirondacks coming up, join us in Lake Placid. We'll have some exciting 2-man and 4-man racing for the World Cup. World's best athletes and Team USA will be battling it out here on the combined track.
sled work is now closed. Once again, the sled work is now closed.
There was 6 copies of the men's second run start list printed out at start 1. Where did they all go? I'm going to print 30 out now. All right, folks. Thank you for hanging out and waiting. We are 15 minutes out from the start of exciting run number 2. Once again, 15 minutes out from the start of exciting run number 2. Again, the women are up first. Then we move into our men's competitive field. We're going to send a couple more 4-runner sleds down the track first. Why? Because we like to send 4-runner sleds down the track. And we want Luke and Leslie to get lots and lots of ice time. So watch out, Team USA. Leslie Stratton, Team Sweden, is going to be taking the gold at World Cup this year. So once again, 15 minutes out. I think everybody found the start lists. So crisis has been averted. For all's information, there is a printer upstairs in start 1. We do keep it hidden because it is a very fancy printer from probably 1995. But anyway, that's where the start list print out. Upstairs in the closet. There's big Texas rolls up there too, courtesy of track management. And I think there's some combos too, so everybody make sure you storm the upstairs of Start 1 for snacks and beverages. 10-minute warning. A 10-minute warning. Get your popcorn out. It is a 10-minute warning. Or if you're the jury president, get your thermometer out. So it's a 10-minute warning. Pilot sleds, ready up. 10-minute warning. 5 minutes. 5 minutes to the pilots. 5 minutes to the pilots. Once again, huge thank you to our spectators for joining us here today. If you're here during the first run, thanks for sticking around for our second run. Thank you to our online spectators joining us on YouTube. Hope you guys are enjoying the races from the comfort of your own home. We just had a very thorough discussion about popcorn. So hopefully you got some of that in your cupboard. Cook it up, whether it's in an air popper, if it's Jiffy Pop, whether it's microwave or store-bought. Grab your popcorn. Race and run number 2 is coming up here shortly. All right, folks, here we go with our pilot sleds. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Luke. So, let in track from start 1. This is Luke. This is a pilot sled. He's on his way through curve 1. Once again, this is Luke acting as a pilot sled. This is basically a test sled. Send a couple down before the competitive sleds. Make sure everything is A-OK. Again, Luke's coming down through the Devil's Highway. Women are up first. We run down through the order. It's Christina, Cole, and Brittany for our ladies' start order. Then we move on to the men. Very, very close racing here for the team selection race. Once again, Luke, our test sled, pilot sled, is in the heart. He's coming up through 20. Crossing the line, a downtime. Pretty good downtime for Luke. Leslie, our second pilot sled, please stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Leslie. So let in From start 1, this is Leslie. This is our second test sled, pilot sled. This is a skeleton sled. This is Leslie. She's sliding for Sweden this year. Down through the upper straightaways of the track. Again, pilot sleds in course. We have exciting run number 2 coming up very shortly. So if you're down at the bottom of the hill, make your way up the hill. We're going to have some bobsleds coming your way. Sliding into curve 10, Shady 2. Once again, this is Leslie. This is our pilot sled, our second pilot sled. We have luge on the track tomorrow, right around 9:30 for those of you who were asking. It'll be 9 o'clock start time for luge. And then midday, 12:30, we'll have the skeleton team selection race number 2. And later in the day at 4 o'clock, the exciting 4-man bobsled race. Leslie, our second pilot sled, is through and down. Our third pilot sled, please stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for our third pilot, Alana. So, let in track from start 1. This is Olympic silver medalist from Pyeongchang, Alana Myers-Taylor. She's having a blast here doing some piloting trips before the team selection race. Alana has already guaranteed her spot for this year's World Cup season, thanks to that silver medal in Pyeongchang, South Korea in February. Anyways, she's down through the Devil's Highway of the track. Very solid pilot here on the Lake Placid course. On her way through curve 10, Shady 2. Alana holds the start record here in Lake Placid. She also just the start record. Down 18, climbing curve 19. Through and down, Jamie Grubel Poser holds the track record. Alana holds the start record, and she's through and down. Our first competitive sled, Christy, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start 1. Start 1 for Christy. So, let in track from start 1. This is Christy Copeland and Sylvia Hoffman in track for their second run of the day. A start time of 5:06.7. 58.53 was their first run down time. Christy looking for a fast run here on run number 2. She was sitting in 3rd place after run number 1. Once again, her first run down time was a 58.53, so it's very close racing for the ladies here. This is Christy sliding into curve 10, Shady 2, and through 10, coming down through the labyrinth into curve 14. And through the bend, we'll see a speed of 73.3 miles per hour here for Christy. See how she does here, setting the pace on run number 2, down 18, climbing curve 19. Solid looking run there, good speed. She'll be through curve 20, crossing the finish line with a down time of 58.57. So just about matching her first run down time, giving her a combined time of 1:57.10. That was Christy. Up Next, we'll have Nicole. Nicole, please stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start one for Nicole. So, let in track from start one. This is Nicole Vogt and Nicole Brungart. In track for run number 2. Sliding into curve 1, 5.70 start time for Nicole. 58.50 on her first run. 0.03 of a second back here on run number 2. Finding time to the upper straightaways down to about dead even with her teammate Christy. 58.60 or better would move her up into first place here on run number 2. Very close and exciting racing here on run number 2 for the ladies. This is Nicole Vogt and Nicole Brungart sliding down through the labyrinth of the track, only back by 0.05 of a second, little late at a curve 12, but she gets a boost here, finding a little bit of time here and there, 0.04 of a second back. She has a little bit of track to work with to find the time she needs, climbing up through curve 19 into the finish curve, 100th ahead of the pace set by her teammate and moving into, it's going to be a tie. It's a tie for first place. Combined time 1:57.10. Downtime was a 58.60. 2 miles of ice, the same exact combined time. We have one competitive sled remaining for the women. That is Brittany Reinbold. Brittany, stand by. Track is clear from the finish to start one for Brittany. So let in track from start one. This is Brittany Reinbold and Lauren Gibbs. Loaded into the sled into curve 1 with a start time of 5.61, giving them about 1/4 of a second to work with off the top of the track. There's currently a tie for first place between Christy and Nicole. Brittany Reinbold, our final competitive sled in course. Let's see how she does here, entering down through the Devil's Highway with 0.3 of a second to work with. 58.33 was her first run downtime. Looking for a 58.77 or better to move up into first place. Brittany had an amazing first run, doing the same here on run number 2, getting a little boost there at a curve 12. That'll give her 0.4 of a second to work with as she pushes her way into the heart of the track, only pulling away now up to 0.5 a second to work with. Down 18, climbing curve 19. Brittany Reinbold coming up through the final 2 curves of the track with plenty of time to work with. 58.04 her downtime, combined time of 1:56.37. Putting her in first place for the race here today, in a tie for second between Christy and Nicole. Up next, we'll move into the men. 2 minutes or so to the men. 2 minutes or so to the men. Once again, congratulations to Brittany Reinbold. Tie between second and second place between Christy and Nicole. And, of course, up first for the men will be Tyler Hickey. Again, Tyler Hickey is up first for the men. The women can settle their tie by competing in a luge race from start 5. We'll bring the trainer sleds out. So once again, up first for the men, we'll have Tyler Hickey and Chris Walsh. 2 minutes to the men, or whenever they're ready. All right, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Ooh, we have an afterburner sled as well. Track is clear from the finish to start 1 for Tyler. Sledding from start 1, this is Tyler Hickey and Chris Walsh. The first competitive sledding track for run number 2 for the men's discipline. 5:52 start time for Tyler. He had a first run down time of 58:08. He's setting the pace for our men's heat number 2. Through Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. Exciting racing for the women. And, of course, this is Tyler Hickey and Chris Walsh in course. Sliding in curve 10, shady 2. This is some good-looking stuff. Tyler's really looking good here over the last week. Getting his feel back for the Lake Placid track. He's having a blast. You can just tell by the way he's driving the sled down the track. He'll be a little bit off the pace here when all is said and done, but he's got some good speed. He should see some personal bests this week. Tyler coming up through curve 20 and crossing the finish line is down time 57.97. Solid run for Tyler. 57.97, 156.05, his combined time. We'll have Frank Del Duca up next. Track is clear from the finish to start 1. Start 1 for Frank. So let in track from start one. This is Frank Del Duca and Derek Crittenden. Sliding through curve one, a start time of 5:40, 5:40. The start time for Frankie Del Duca. 57.52 was his first run down time, and he's going to be chasing down Tyler Hickey here on run two. Combined time for Tyler of 1:56.05, and Frankie Del Duca needs a 58.53 or better to move up into first place. About 3/4 of a second to work with here for Frankie. Awesome run. Good labyrinth for Frankie. He should be real happy with this run. He might buy himself some time here. He could jump up a spot or two depending on how our remaining sleds fare coming down the track. Through 18, climbing on up curve 19, Frankie Del Duca. Solid run. Coming up through 20, he'll be through and down well ahead of the pace. Down time of 57.65 and a 1:55.17 combined time. Track is clear from the finish to start one. Start number one for Jeff. So led in from start one. This is Jeff Gadbois and Sam Moeller. Sliding into curve one with a 5.32 start. 57.05 was his first run down time. We currently have Frankie Del Duca sitting atop the leader box with a combined time of 1:55.17. Jeffrey Gadbois on track. This guy carries some speed down the track really nicely. Been having a little difficulty with the Devil's Highway portion of the track over the last couple of days, but he's through there nice and clean, looking quiet as he makes his way down through the labyrinth into curve 14. He's going to get a little bit of speed there out of the exit of curve 12, hung on to it nicely. 75 miles per hour for Jeff. He's always got great speed. Climbing up curve 19, this is a decent run from Jeff. He'll be through and down. Looking at a time of 56.95. That's one of the better times he's seen in a two-man sled all week. Combined time of 1:54.00. He'll currently sit in first place, followed by Frankie Del Duca, and Tyler Hickey sits in third. We're halfway through our competitive field for the men. Justin Olson is up next. Track is clear from the finish to start one for Justin. So let in track from start one. This is Justin Olson and Chris Kinney out for a rip on run number two with a start time of 5:16, giving them 0.2 of a second in the bank off the top of the track. 56.99 is the time he needs to beat to move up into first place. He had a 57.01 on his first run, so he needs to improve upon his first run down time in order to move up into first place here on run two. Jeffrey Gadbois sits atop the leader box with a combined time of 1:54.00. Exiting curve 10 down through the labyrinth. This is a good run for Justin. 0.3 here. He's going to be losing a little time, though, as he pushes through the bottom curves of the track. It's going to be difficult to keep up with Jeff. Speed is a little bit less than Jeff's here, 74.8 miles per hour. How will he hang on to the time here through the finish curve? He's going to be coming across the line just barely ahead of the pace, moving into first place with a combined time of 1:53.81. And his downtime, 56.80. That was Justin Olson and Chris Kinney. Through and down, moving into first place by a tenth of a second with a downtime of 56.80. Two competitive sleds remain atop the hill. Hunter Church and Adrian Adams will be up next. Track is clear from the finish to start one. Start one for Hunter. Sled and track from start one. This is Hunter Church and Adrian Adams. Into their sled into curve one with a 5.32 start. Again, a 5.32 start time for Hunter. He has some work to do here on run number two. He needs a 56.81 or better, so he needs a 0.2 of a second faster run here on run two in order to move up into first place. First run down time of 57.00 for Hunter Church. It's currently Justin Olson sitting atop the leader box, followed by Jeffrey Gabois and Frank Del Duca in third. Hunter Church is in track, making his way through the labyrinth, down through 11, 12, and 13. He's got fantastic speed. He's going to be behind the pace by just a little bit here, though. 0.2 of a second separate him from the lead. He will have a faster speed than Justin Olson, though. Will he be able to make this time up through the heart of the track, climbing curve 19? A little bit of a high line at 19, coming through curve 20, skidding by the Skelly finish. He'll fall back into third place with a downtime of 57.03. His combined time 1:54.03. We have one competitive sled remaining. Our order: Justin Olson, Jeffrey Gabois, and Hunter Church 1, 2, and 3. Cody Baskew sits at the top of the track. Track is clear from the finish to start one for Cody. So let in track from start one. This is Cody Baskew and Akeem Abdul Sabur. Loaded into their sled with a fantastic start of 5:10. That is a beautiful start time for Cody. 56.51 was his first run down time. He is 0.6 of a second in the bank off the top of the course. 57.30 or better would move him up into first place. Cody been sliding here for a long time, probably about 15 years. He grew up sliding on the 1980 track. Got a little more serious, came over to the combo track when it was built in 2000 and started sliding two-man here. This is an awesome run for Cody. Speed of 75.2 miles per hour. This is a victory lap for Cody Baskew as he climbs up through the final two curves of the track with almost 3/4 of a second to work with. Through and down at 56.45 and a combined time of 1:52.96 puts Cody Baskew into first place and your leader for today for the men. We'll have one sled left. That'll be our afterburner sled. That is Olympic silver medalist from Pyeongchang, Alana Myers-Taylor. Justin Olson was sitting in second place, followed by and Jeffrey Gabois sits in third. So once again, one sled remains, and that is an afterburner sled. It's a fun run. Track is clear from the finish 2, start 1 for Alana. So, let in track from start 1. This is Alana Myers-Taylor. Sliding down into curve 1, her start time, 5:7:8. Alana will be competing against the men tomorrow in the 4-man discipline. She could get in there and really make a mess of things for the men's team. Once again, Alana Myers-Taylor currently in track, making her way down through the Devil's Highway of the course. Again, Olympic silver medalist from Pyeongchang, Alana Myers-Taylor, having a little bit of fun here on race day, taking an afterburner trip through 10, down through the labyrinth, sliding through curves 11, 12, and 13. This is an awesome run for Alana. Through 14, sliding the chicane into curve 17. A reminder to all of our spectators, come on out tomorrow. We have luge in the morning. We have a skeleton race at 12:30, and that's team trials race for number 2 for the skeleton athletes. And we have the exciting 4-man race tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Come on back, folks. Lots of exciting stuff going on here at Mount Van Hoevenberg. Olympic silver medalist Alana Myers-Taylor through and down with a time of 58.33. That will conclude our sliding sessions for the evening. The track will be clearing closed till tomorrow morning. Thank you to our volunteers, athletes, track workers, and everybody for joining us here today.